There is a town in America that most people have never heard of, and even those who once lived there rarely speak about it anymore. If you search for it today, you will find only a few lines in old records, a few blurred photographs, and some forgotten government files that do not explain anything clearly. But the strange part is not that the town disappeared. The strange part is that for decades, thousands of people lived there, worked there, built families there, and yet almost no one remembers it now. This story begins in the late 1940s, just after the end of World War II. America was changing fast. Soldiers were returning home, industries were growing, and the country was entering a new era of power and fear. The Cold War had begun, and the government was worried about enemies both outside and inside the country. During this time, many secret programs were created. Some were about weapons, some were about intelligence, but a few were about something much quieter and more disturbing: human behavior. The town was built quietly in the middle of the country, far from major cities, near an old railway line that had lost its importance. The government did not announce the project publicly. Instead, they described it as a small industrial development meant to create jobs and help families settle after the war. People who needed a fresh start were invited. War refugees, immigrants, widows, veterans, and workers who had lost their homes were offered housing, employment, and stability. Many accepted. At first, life in the town seemed normal. There were schools, shops, churches, and small factories. Children played in the streets. Families held picnics on weekends. The town grew slowly but steadily. But unknown to the residents, the town had another purpose. Every street had hidden observation points. Many homes were designed with unusual architecture that allowed sound and movement to be monitored. Surveys were conducted regularly, but they were presented as harmless research. People were asked about their happiness, their fears, their relationships, their routines. Doctors examined children and adults more often than usual. Teachers recorded behavior carefully. The project was designed to study boredom, routine, isolation, and long-term psychological stress. Officials believed that modern society would eventually face large-scale social control challenges. They wanted to know how ordinary people reacted when life became repetitive, predictable, and emotionally empty. They wanted to know how communities responded to slow economic decline. For years, the town was observed. Reports were written. Data was collected. Families came and went. Some left because they felt uneasy. Some disappeared without explanation. In the 1960s, the factories began to close. This was part of the experiment. Officials wanted to observe how people reacted when opportunity slowly vanished. Jobs were lost. Young people left. Those who remained grew older and more tired. One of the families who stayed was the Harper family. The father, Thomas Harper, had worked in a small mechanical factory. He was a quiet man who believed in routine and discipline. His wife, Margaret, was a school teacher who loved history and books. They had one child, Daniel. Daniel grew up in the town without realizing anything was unusual. He noticed that life felt slow and predictable. He noticed that adults often seemed tired and sad. He noticed that many children left and never returned, but he accepted it as normal. As a child, Daniel loved listening to his mother's stories about history. She told him about wars, migrations, and forgotten civilizations. She told him that history was not only about kings and battles, but about ordinary people whose lives were shaped by invisible forces. When Daniel was 12, his mother began to change. She became anxious. She started writing notes late at night. Sometimes she whispered to his father. Daniel once heard her say, "They are still watching." His father told him not to worry. He said his mother was stressed, but Daniel did not forget. One winter, when Daniel was 15, his mother disappeared. The official explanation was that she had left the town for a better job, but Daniel never believed it. She had left behind her books, her clothes, and even her favorite pen. After that, his father became quiet and distant. He worked, ate, and slept. He never spoke about her again. Years passed. Daniel finished school, but did not leave the town. He felt a strange attachment to it, as if something invisible was holding him there. He took a job in the municipal records office. The office stored decades of documents, birth records, death certificates, employment files, immigration reports. Most employees found the work boring. Daniel found it calming. One day, during a building renovation, workers discovered a sealed wall in the basement. Behind it were old boxes. The documents inside were labeled confidential. Daniel was asked to organize them. As he began reading, he noticed strange patterns. Many residents had incomplete histories. Some had multiple identities. Some had no birth records before arriving. He found files about psychological observation, behavior monitoring, community stress. Then he found something that froze him, a file about his own family. The file stated that his parents had been selected as ideal subjects. His mother had been categorized as highly perceptive, his father as stable and predictable. Daniel himself had been labeled continuing observation. According to the documents, his mother had discovered irregularities in the town. She had become suspicious. She had tried to collect evidence. The file ended with a single line, "Subject removed to preserve project integrity." Daniel felt his world collapse. He realized his entire life had been observed. His childhood, his friendships, his habits, his emotions. He copied the files secretly. After that, his life changed. He stopped trusting people. He noticed small details, strange cars, unfamiliar faces, repeated surveys. He began interviewing elderly residents. Many remembered unusual events, people taken away, strange doctors, government vehicles at night. Some believed the town was used for classified research. Others thought it was paranoia. As years passed, Daniel became isolated. He never married. He never left. He dedicated his life to understanding the truth. In the 1980s, parts of the project were officially closed. Funding ended. But Daniel believed the observation continued in hidden ways. He wrote reports. He contacted journalists. Most ignored him. Finally, decades later, one journalist agreed to listen. Daniel sent copies of the files. But before the journalist could visit, Daniel disappeared. His house was empty. His documents were gone. His neighbors said they had seen a car outside the night before. The journalist published the story anyway. It spread online. Some believed it, some did not. Today, the town still exists, but it is almost empty. Visitors say it feels strange, as if time stopped. They say they sometimes see lights in buildings that should be abandoned. They say they feel watched. And perhaps the most disturbing part is this: no official agency has ever confirmed or denied the project. Because sometimes the most boring and ordinary lives hide the most extraordinary and terrifying truths. And sometimes history is not written to be remembered. It is written to be forgotten.